Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is going to be my post-fight reaction for UFC Vegas 33. I'm mainly going to talk about the main event between Uriah Hall and Sean Strickland. This is a fight that coming into it, I thought Uriah Hall was going to be the better striker. I thought the fight was going to majority play out on the feet. And I thought that Uriah Hall would eventually be able to find a kill shot and finish Sean Strickland. But boy, could my prediction not have been more wrong. This was a terrible prediction by me. Uriah Hall showed up tonight, and he just didn't seem like he wanted to fight. From the very first round, there was something weird going on. I don't know if it was one of the jabs that did it. He was squinting his eye like the whole round, and Uriah just did not look like he wanted to be there. Sean Strickland was just jabbing right hand, and it was just landing at will, and Uriah Hall was never able to find any range. He just never really landed anything significant. He didn't even attempt too many kicks. I know a lot of people were thinking coming into this fight, Uriah Hall has a great kicker. I thought with Sean Strickland, the way he's so flat-footed, the way he plots forward, I thought Uriah Hall could chew up that leg. And I don't know if that's something to do with, maybe the last fight kind of took a toll on him against, Chris Weidman, for those who don't know, broke his leg against Uriah Hall in his last fight. And maybe, after seeing that, he didn't want to throw any kicks. Because he threw maybe, I would say, 5 leg kicks, and they were effective. And he just never really it seemed like he never really got off with them. He just didn't seem to have any will to throw them. He threw very little body kicks. He threw one spinning attack to the head, but it didn't even come close to landing. And it just seemed like Uriah really couldn't find his range at all. There was at some points he was pressuring Strickland, and he was just missing with every punch that he was throwing. Strickland, for the most part, when he was being successful, and I think Strickland probably won every single round. The judges, I think 2 judges gave him every single round. There was one round that was kind of close. There was a couple times where Strickland was just moving forward, jab right, and there was one time he clipped Uriah on the back of the ear, and it hurt Uriah bad. Then he took him down. He almost finished him. To be honest, when I seen that exchange where Uriah got clipped and then taken down, I thought Uriah was going to give up a submission. I know people talk about it all the time. That guy quit in there. Uriah just did not appear like he wanted to be in that cage tonight. And I really thought he was going to give up a submission there, but he did not. He fought valiantly. He got it back to his feet. And he was just a punching bag the entire night. I compared Sean Strickland. In a way, his style is similar to like a Colby Covington, Nate Diaz, where he's a pressure-heavy style, but he doesn't throw a lot of power. It's a lot of volume, but not a lot of power. And that's pretty much what he did tonight. And he really battered Uriah Hall on the feet. And Uriah, the punches that he threw just never really even came close. Like, I don't remember any really hard, solid punches that landed for Uriah tonight. There was a couple jabs that he landed that snapped Sean Strickland's head back a little bit. But other than that, there was just nothing, really significant, for lack of a better word. I know people say significant strikes, but Uriah just had nothing. And on the ground, we could see Sean Strickland had the advantage. He got the dominant positions. He landed some ground and pound. Uriah did find his way off his back, so that was promising. And also, I think both guys showed they have decent 5-round cardio. I don't think either guy has ever went 5 rounds before, so that was at least nice to see. But another loss for one of my predictions for the main events this year. I've been doing pretty good up until this point. I think I'm 20-4 or 20-5 right now, so I guess now I'll be 20-5 or 20-6, depending on what the record is. But I always put that in the description. But Uriah Hall really let me down tonight. I just really thought his explosiveness and his accurate striking would win him this fight. And I didn't think Sean Strickland was all that great. I thought he could win, but I really thought Uriah would win. But he just disappointed tonight. He didn't seem like he wanted to be in the cage. All 5 rounds, for the most part, he was backing up. He had some moments for a minute or so, a minute and a half, he was pressing forward. And it seemed like when Sean Strickland was backing up, that was when Uriah Hall was having his most success. But it just, it never really panned out. He never landed any really hard shots on Strickland. Strickland was never in trouble. The few kicks that Uriah landed were hard, but, he didn't throw enough of them at all. So I'm really disappointed with Uriah tonight. I don't know if there was something wrong with the eye, the way he was squinting. It reminded me of Anthony Johnson back in the day. It just seemed like once, and again, I talk about this all the time, there's some guys who face adversity and they kind of pack it in. And it seemed like Uriah it seemed like at some points he was there, but then some points he shook himself out of it. And it seemed like his corner was trying to really convince him, go out there and finish this guy. You can finish this guy. And they were just trying to convince him to stay in it, but he just wasn't able to do it, you know? So as far as the rest of the card, I wanted to do a quick reaction video because the Pitbull versus AJ McKee fight's about to start, and I'm going to be live streaming that. But let's talk about the rest of the card. This card lost, a lot of fights due to injury and last-second pullouts. But even though there wasn't any super important fights on the card, we got some fun finishes. We had Cheyanne Buys finish Gloria de Paulo. It was a fun fight while it lasted. It was 1 minute into the first round, KO for Cheyanne Buys. They were striking. Buys got the takedown. De Paulo got her feet on the hips, pushed her away, and then started to get up. And Cheyanne Buys threw the perfect head kick and just brutally KO'd her. She started to walk away, but the referee didn't stop it, so then she had to follow up with a couple punches, and she finished her. It was a great KO, but again, who knows where either one of these girls are going to go in the strawweight division. Moving down the card, Niklas Stolze versus Jared Gooden. Jared Gooden, KO first round again. It was a nasty, I think it was a right hand, dropped him, finished him off. The fight only lasted for so long, and Gooden just looked good tonight. I think he took this fight on short notice. And he just came out there and put him out. It was a very impressive performance, but it didn't last very long. And again, and I talk about it all the time, and I know someone's going to say, oh, every fighter in the UFC is great. But when you're fighting that level of competition, it's hard to really say, oh, this guy looks amazing. I don't know. It's still unknown to me just because of the level of competition he's at. Melsik, Baghdasaryan looked super impressive tonight against Collin, Anglin. It was a round 2 KO, TKO. He looked super fast tonight. Eventually, he landed a head kick and then followed up on the ground. The fight was kind of back and forth. Collin looked super tough. He was landing some strikes of his own in the first round, but Baghdasaryan just looked so fast. He was finding openings, and every time Collin really moved in, he was just counter-striking him and just pressing him backwards. But both guys, it was a super fun fight. It was a little bit back and forth. Both guys got their shots in. But overall, impressive performance by Baghdasaryan. And he was kind of downplaying the performance. So I'm interested. I'm going to keep an eye on him as far as a prospect because he looked like all the fundamentals were there. So I can't wait to see where he goes in the future. Last fight on the main card. And again, a lot of these fights, it's hard to really say. They're not super important in the grand scheme of the division. That's why I mainly talk about the main event in this video. Bryan Barberena versus Jason Witt. Back and forth fight. Crazy third round. Both guys dropping each other. At one point, Jason Witt loses his mouthpiece. He bends down to pick it up, and he gets hit hard by Barberena. I don't know how Jason Witt wasn't finished. So that was an incredible, show of toughness by Witt. This fight was just back and forth. Both guys landed shots. There were some takedowns. There was a mix of everything in this fight. And I was just surprised that somebody did not get KO'd in that third round. And I think Witt was really dazed at the point, and he dropped his mouthpiece. Literally, the ref didn't stop the fight or anything. And he just bends down, grabs the mouthpiece, and Barberena just pieces him up while he's doing it. Just not even looking at Barberena, who's 1 foot away from him. So, great fight. There was a lot of fun finishes. This card left a lot to be desired. Uriah Hall really put on it's kind of a stinker of a performance tonight against Sean Strickland. But Strickland gets an important win in the middleweight division. So, I'm interested to see where Strickland goes after this fight. I think he was ranked number 11, so he'll probably crack into that top 10. I'm not sure who I want to see him fight next. There's not, I'm trying to think who really I would like to see him fight next, but there's not very many obvious candidates. I know Paula is available, but I think that might be a little bit too high for Strickland. But who knows? Kelvin Gastelum, I think, is fighting Jared Cannonier. He could fight one of those guys. Kelvin Gastelum will fight anybody in the division at any time. So, who knows? We could see that. But other than that, I think, it was an okay card. We had some excitement for the card. But as far as where do we go from here, I'm not overly pumped about any of these guys on the card. I'm not, they were great wins for some of these people. Cheyanne Buys was a great win, but I just don't know if she can really compete with the elite of the 115. I know we have to wait and watch them grow and really see where they go. But as of right now, it's just hard to be too pumped about any of these fighters that fought tonight. I'll be interested to see where Strickland goes next. I'm curious who they match him up with after tonight's performance, but I really don't know. I don't think that Paulo Costa fight's going to happen, but we'll see. Guys, do me a favor. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already, and thank you so much for watching.